It is without question that Michelle Buteau has created such a success. Survival of the Thickest. Season 3, I cannot believe this show is ending. I love this show. It might be the best show Netflix has ever done. Low key, right? Okay, Netflix has all sorts of shows and the programming is definitely vast. Now listen, one thing that's interesting about this show is Michelle Buteau, comedian extraordinaire for many years, really kind of struck such success with this show. And it's funny because she had succeeded in so many different ways earlier on, but the way things work sometimes is you really need that big moment. And she had the big moment when The Circle, which was on Netflix at one point, I know it's now going to Hulu, where they decided that she was the voiceover and host. It's so weird. You see the talent be successful here, there, and everywhere, but it's until one thing kind of just breaks out that, you know, the namesake, Michelle Buteau, is sort of, people want to work, with her career and her success in a different way. And that is where the birth of this show happened. Survival of the Thickest originally was a book and then it made to a series on Netflix. And it's had so many cast members. The cast members that have been on this show, I mean, this is some of the most creative people that otherwise may have not got a shot to be in certain shows. These are talents that are top tier at what they do. However, sometimes there's certain restrictions or, when you're doing a show like something on Netflix, it's, mass appeal. And I think this show really became special because they really believed in Michelle Buteau in such a way that I feel like they just followed her lead on like, this is how we are telling this story. This is kind of what it is like, and it feels very authentic. As a viewer, that's what I like about it. Now, do I love and have I been a Michelle Buteau fan for years and years and years? Yes, indeed. Took classes with her years ago. I remember going to when she did a Comedy Central, half hour or whatever it was, there was a Michelle Buteau, viewing party of sorts, and I was there, and, to see her grow over the years. But it's that weird thing. She's never grown. She's always been that success, but this show has really done something different. And to see also parallel where her life has gone and went and continues to go and grow is nice, because not only do you see the success in her career, but like she's evolved, as a wife, mother, all of these things. It's like you kind of look at her as like it couldn't happen to a better person. And while I wish there was more seasons, like season 3 is not enough for me, it still is good. And it's great that you could go back and see that body of work and be like season 1, 2, and 3 and see wonderful storytelling. Season 3, they're in Paris. There's still so much concepts with design and the success with that, and love, and how you navigate all that stuff too. It's like Sex and the City, and just like that in some ways too, if you parallel it to New York City, and just growing and evolving and heartbreak, career setback, success. Like the character of Mavis is really relatable in a lot of ways. Over the seasons, to see so many wonderful additions to this show that round out the story. Tone Bell, Tasha Smith really started off with this show and, created some wonderful seasons when she did the show. The amazing Peppermint, some of the cameos, Garcelle Bouvet, Michelle Visage, Candy Burris is going to be in the mix of it this season. You got D.L. Hughley. Like, it's really a who's who of really talented cast members, and it's really nice to see them shine by the vehicle of this show, Survival of the Thickest. It does make me say, can you really be a fan of this show on Netflix if you never read the book? So I will say, Michelle Buteau's book, I need to now go and read, because I am a little sad that the show is ending. But it is a assemblage of wonderful writing across 3 great seasons. It gives you a beginning, middle, and end. And while the show, in my opinion, definitely warrants the support, and it does have that support. If you could remember, I remember because I was on the radio at this time, and I included this in one of my radio reports, because at the time, season 1, they couldn't even necessarily promote the show because there was a strike of sorts, and promoting the show, you had to do it sort of indirectly. There was a lot of shows that were going through that at that time. Like going back, I remember like an Allison Williams, you know, she was on Fellow Travelers, but she'd come on to interviews, all the shows, but she couldn't say that she was on Fellow Travelers. She had to kind of say she was, you know, whatever it is, she was like indirectly promoting. And I feel like Michelle had to do that as well, and all the cast members had to do that as well that first season. So when I was doing radio, I do remember being like really excited to talk about the show, because you were necessarily able to say, you know, break it down in a report like, oh, this is a show that I'm excited about. This comedian is having her moment. Let's all watch it, you know. But you really couldn't welcome people on as guests at that time and them directly promote it just in the basis of, you know, a strike of that time. Now, forgive me if I'm getting all the numbers and logistics of all that era wrong, but it was what it was. You do remember that first season. Like, imagine you worked your whole career for something like this. Michelle did. And then all of a sudden it's happening. Survival of the Thickest, it's happening. Michelle Buteau, she wrote it, created it, concepted it, everything. Conceptualized it. Is that a better way to say it? And you can't even get excited about it. You can't even promote it. Thankfully, it did get a season 2. And now it has its little bit of a following. This following of people who love all of these stories, you know. To limit it and to say it's like this, it's like that, I'm just giving little examples, but it is everything and so much more. And a show like this does not come around all the time, and it is here and it is now. And the only encouragement I would say, not that I have any stake in it, you know, is to watch it, support it, and support what Michelle Buteau has done. Again, going back all those years ago when I do remember taking a class with her, like, to be honest, I'm very shy. I'm like so damn shy, nervous, and all that stuff. But you see people that walk into rooms that are like, oh my gosh, just fearless, but also like, you know, don't give a damn and really present for themselves. And I love that. So I always, from that stance is why I always looked at Michelle Buteau as like, I like her. I like her energy, and she will see the big time, whatever that is. Even in that class was actually Carrie Champion. And of course, Carrie Champion does so well too. And it's these people who you remember when you were taking classes years ago who like, wow, like they've got a gift. Like, I feel like I got hard work, dedication, determination, and effort, but I don't know that I got a gift, you know. I do think over the years of doing radio for so long, I have a gift in that, but do I have a gift in walking into a room and being so vibrant and making people laugh? I think making people laugh is one of the hardest things to do, especially in the space of a comedian. That self-deprecation that you always have to do, how do you wear that so much, and how do you not give a care about it at the end of the day? Like, I get it in some ways. You know, when I was doing radio, I did play or portray the funny fat guy for so long, and then all of a sudden I lost like hundreds of pounds, and I was like 185 pounds. The year before, I was 320 pounds or whatever. So I understand the level of like poking fun at yourself, but when you do it so constantly, I think that you have to have a real grounded structure of people that love and support you, because sometimes it's hard to always do that on the basis of a career. Now, if you're just like seeing funny things and you don't really get what it is, you're probably like, oh, it's no big deal. But I would say that it is a big deal to be so self-deprecating, but yet so confident. And that's what Michelle did different than anyone else. I've always known people who were confident, but maybe they didn't have a balance of being self-deprecating. I knew people who had self-deprecating energy, but they weren't confident, really. It was almost like they wore it as they guarded themselves in this like self-deprecating, like, I don't care. I might have even done it, to be honest with you, if I think about it. Now we're having a therapy session, you know? And Michelle Buteau, again, just knowing her from class so long ago, this was over 10, 15 years ago now. But my point is, you just see it. You just see it. So from afar, seeing like, oh, wow, this gal has a show. Am I going to watch it? And am I going to like it? And am I just liking it because there's like a little bias that you remember her and you want to see the success? But then you're like, no, this is good. Survival of the Thickest, great show. 3 seasons is not enough. Am I right? What do we do? 3 seasons is not enough for this show. Gotta buy the book, you know, and support creative projects that do not always drop in so easily. And I think I want to see it. I want to see all of it, and I want to see more of it. You know, the character from Mavis from season 1 to season 3 and going to Paris and, you know, continuing to bet on self is great. That's the kind of motivation we need. So I don't know. I guess breaking it down, it's what are your thoughts on Survival of the Thickest? Are you upset that season 3 is the end? And what next for Michelle Buteau? What creative endeavor is next for her? Is it, I mean, I honestly thought they would put her on the White Lotus at some point. I always thought she was like the perfect cast member to end up on a show like that, because that show really does a lot for a career, and she's got the chops. And I feel like doing comedy and Netflix and this type of show is great, but I want to see her in something like a White Lotus, you know, something that's goes there, and she has kind of a role that is more shocking to what the norm is. Because if we know one thing about Michelle Buteau, she can hit you here, and she could do all the things you're used to for her. You know she's known for, but I feel like she's got more in the tank. I feel like she's got so much, and we're barely scratching the surface. You know, luckily, like I said, The Circle and her contribution to that show is really what elevated a lot for her career. And then from that, you get, you know, this show that she created, Survival of the Thickest. And now it's like, what's next? I think it's something bigger. I'm only naming the first show that comes to mind, but there's got to be something out there that I feel like she's good for. We have not seen the last of Michelle Buteau, and I think this is a 100% success story all day, every day. And I love the show. Who's your favorite characters? What are your favorite storylines on Survival of the Thickest? Watch all 3 seasons, go back and rewatch it, get those numbers up, and go buy and support her book also. It's cool. I think it's really cool.
Hey, Ronnie Juice.